Hello, and welcome to Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon from the future! Just like I tried something new with the editing last time, I'm trying something different this time with post-commentary instead of live. I'm not sure yet if I like it better, but let me know if you have a preference watching, and I'll take that into consideration. Anyway, just to recap on the story, we've recaptured Marth's home country and set right everything that was wrong in the prologue, and we're moving on from just recovering territory to actively taking the fight to the bad guys. To do that though, we need to find 2 magic artifacts contained at a holy site to the south, and the Grustian knights guarding the bridge aren't going to let us pass without a fight. This map is interesting in that it almost completely lacks terrain and opportunities for diversion or splitting up the enemy army. There's just a whole lot of cavalry on their side, our army on this side, and a bridge between us that's rapidly going to turn into a meat grinder. The only real tactic here is to get some buff units up front and hold the choke point until everything wearing red stops moving and you can push further and further south. We get to use a lot of units for this map, so I brought Beck, Lena, and Abel along for old time's sake. I was also going to forge a strong Rider's Bane, but I forgot I wasted all my money back in, what was that, July? Jeez. Forging that lance for Catria, so never mind. Let's talk about Etzel. He's a sorcerer, which is a promoted dark mage, a class that didn't exist in the original Shadow Dragon and almost doesn't exist in this game. For all intents and purposes, it's identical in use to a sage, as it uses all the same weapons and has a similar role on the battlefield. Besides his rare class, Etzel doesn't particularly stand out. 11 base magic is solid, but 9 speed is really rough for this point in the game. He's not going to be doubling anything faster than a general. He only comes with D-rank stabs too, which means he can't use warp until he heals a bunch of people. He's fine as a backup mage or backup healer, has decent growths all around, but he's nothing special. I like his monocle, even if it does just remind me of a far cooler dark mage. The game's been hyping up General Camus of the Sable Knights a lot over the course of the last few chapters, and that cutscene assures us that no, this generic guy here isn't the one we're supposed to be worried about. He's coming later, and he will be worth the wait. The knights to the south start rushing the bridge immediately as the chapter starts, so it's important that we set up a strong choke point on our end sooner rather than later. We've got people set up to choke the bridge next turn, so I decided to have Zane copy George, so that'll explain the 2 snipers running around. The abundance of horse-mounted enemies on this chapter makes characters with cavalry killing weapons really effective here. Even Marth can do some impressive damage. But it seems like my blessed levels have run out after last chapter. I put Minerva here to weaken this cavalier because it looked like it was out of enemy range, but there were 2 rather dangerous horsemen I forgot to highlight. This is what we Fire Emblem veterans refer to as a bad move. Second death of the run in the books. Let me reset and I'll meet you back before things went bad. so I actually kept my flyers away from the archers this time.
Bruh.
There are shops on the middle island here, so I'm sending Zane to buy some vulneraries with the discount card. Beck finally got to do something and got a bad level, but he set the kill up for Marth to use for another actually good level. Continuing south, I forgot this paladin had a Rider's Bane and almost got Abel killed. Sorry, dude. Speaking of characters dying really fast, this enemy Pegasus Knight spawns on turn 6. It's Est, the youngest of the 3 White Wing sisters. She doesn't attack, and she'll recruit herself by flying up to Marth. Katri is about to cap speed while also having more strength and defense than Sita. On turns 8, 10, and 12, a bunch of reinforcements spawn out of the forts to the southwest here. That's actually good since we're going to be using them to train Est, so I'm splitting my forces between people who are going to take on the boss and who's going to fight the reinforcements. If you stick around on this map for much longer than you have to, a single paladin spawns on the middle island on turns 14, 16, and 18, so watch out for that if you leave squishy units up there and forget about them for a bunch of turns. Not that I would ever do something like that. So first we get the Mercurius. It's Arcanea's relic sword alongside the bow Parthia, which we have, and the lance Gradavis, which we don't have. It's a really good sword, but it pales in comparison to how strong it was in the previous versions of the game. Astrum is the character I've decided is going to be the designated wielder for it, but his sword rank isn't high enough yet, so he can't. Minerva and the other White Wings all have conversations with Est, and you can do these at any point in the game after she joins, but I'll just get them out of the way now. Anyway, let's take a proper look at Est. At first glance, she may seem very underleveled and kind of bad compared to her sisters, and especially to Minerva, because she is. But to compensate for her pitiful base stats, Est is a character designed all around future potential, with notably high growth rates to encourage you to put in the effort to raise her up to match, or even surpass the units you've had for longer. This was much more noticeable in the original version of the game, where everyone's growths were even worse than they are in this remake, and Est's were actually better back then, rocking 70% growths across the board. Now she just has like 55s across the board, which aren't bad, but also aren't like face-meltingly great. There's a lot of debate about whether characters designed like this are worth the investment. The consensus is usually no, and I agree with that, but I still think it's fun to raise them from 0 to hero, and that's exactly what I'll be doing because Est is on the team to stay. With the Rider's Bane she comes with, she can deal a lot of damage to the Cavaliers on this map and compensate for her awful stats. The main thing is keeping her out of range of practically everything because she has the defenses of wet toilet paper. You can also use the arena on this map to train up Est relatively safely if you're into that kind of thing. Est needs help killing even an unpromoted Cavalier, so we need to use most of the people on this side just to weaken 1 or 2 enemies for her to finish off. It was subtly referenced in the Est and Catria conversation, but the White Wing sisters actually have a secret ability called the Triangle Attack. When all 3 of them are standing adjacent to the same enemy, if one of them attacks, the attack is a guaranteed critical hit. I tried to set it up here for Est to get a crit, but I messed up the order and moved Pala last. I put Minerva there too, just to stop the Cav from moving, but she's not necessary for the Triangle Attack. It also doesn't work if the enemy initiates combat on the White Wings, as demonstrated. It only works if you're the one initiating the attack, so that was a stupid setup on my part. I took way longer than I should have needed to set up a safe kill for Est, and she didn't even have the decency to level strength or speed. I then realized that I used up all my high movement units on trading items around with Est, and now she's exposed to 2 hits, so I used more people as human shields. Training Est is a fever dream of a process. I thought I might set up a boss kill for Marth, and then I thought to myself, why? So that's another Master Seal, which is probably going to Catria once she caps speed. I'm going to promote all the White Wings into Falcon Knights using my little cheat to turn Master Seals into Elysian Whips, just letting you know in advance. If I promoted them to Draco Knights, they'd be more like leathery green wings, and that doesn't roll off the tongue as well as White Wings does. Speak of the devil, there's that last point of speed we needed. Now I'll just check the rest of the shop so you can see what's in it. Another rapier in this one, some lances, and a bunch of tomes. Nothing we need, and I'm not just saying that because I'm flat broke. Map's over, time to seize. Thanks for watching this episode, and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed the post-commentary. I'm going to be using it for the next few videos in the sequence, so look forward to that.